Hey guys, welcome to this video where we are going to look at the multiple choice, choose multiple answers. So in this question, you get more than one option that is correct. That's the only difference from the previous question, where in the multiple choice single answer, you have one option. In this, there are at least two options correct. Sometimes even three options might be correct. And you also get 5 options to choose from in this particular question. Let's look at how you are scored. There is partial correct, so you have incorrect. You have points deducted for incorrect options chosen. So you have 1 point for every correct option that you choose and -1 for every incorrect option. And 0 is the minimum score that you can get for this question. So similar guidelines from the previous section apply to this one as well. Here too, you can accept some category 3 type questions where there's insufficient information given to select the correct option and to determine if it's true or false. You score marks for correct options, but you also lose marks for incorrect options. So let's look at an example to see how the scoring works. Let's take a sample question which has 5 options to choose from and 2 options are correct. And let's see how we are scored in 4 different scenarios, because many people have confusion around how the scoring works for this particular question. So I think if I explain this with an example, it should be clear. So the first instance is you select 2 correct options. So in this part, your score will be +2. You get 1 mark for each correct option that you've selected. In the second instance, that's fairly straightforward. In the second instance, you select 1 correct option and the second option that you select turns out to be incorrect. So in this particular instance, your score will be 0. And the reasoning for that is you get 1 + 1 for the correct answer and -1 for the incorrect option selected. The third instance is you only select 1 option and that ends up to be correct. And in this instance, your score will be +1. So if you want to be on the bit conservative side, you can select 1 answer and you will get +1. The fourth option, you select 3 options and they are all incorrect. So in this particular instance, your score will be 0. You get -1 for each incorrect option, but the minimum score that you can get is 0. So while you should aim to select all correct options in this particular answer, if you're unsure, it's better to leave an option unselected. This will ensure that you don't end up getting penalized for the incorrect option, which is what happened over here. But generally, you have 2 answers that are correct. Sometimes the third answer would be correct as well. But for those who are aiming 79 plus, I would strongly recommend select at least 2 answers, because when you're aiming for 79 plus, you have very less margin for error and every point counts. So if you're aiming for 79 plus, definitely select at least 2 answers. And if you strongly believe that the third option is correct, even go for that. So while your strategy, no matter what your score is, should be to get all the possible options correct. But if you're aiming for 65 and below, and if you're a bit unsure of a particular option, maybe just go ahead and select 1 option to be on the safer side. Some people have a misconception and even want to skip this section altogether, but that does not make sense, because the minimum that you can get is 0. You can't go below 0 in this particular question. So definitely do not skip this question if you're thinking about that. So that was how the scoring works. And now let's look at a specific example of the multiple choice question, and let's go try solving it and let's see how we do. So maybe pause the video right now and try reading this paragraph and also try to solve this question. So pause the video and read the paragraph, and once we get back, I'm going to try and solve it and show you how I would do it. Okay, we're back. I hope you guys are practicing when I tell you to practice. Anyways, I'm going to get started. So let's quickly read the question. Which one of the following statements about Australian Aborigines can be supported from the text? Okay, 30 to 40,000 years, didgeridoo, 2% of the population based on the belief animals are integrated, costing. Okay, so I read the question. It's something that's asking me to, I probably need to read the entire passage for me to get this, but I just skimmed through the question, through the options, and now I'm going to go through the passage. Who are the Aborigines? Aborigines are Australia's indigenous people. Recent government statistics counted approximately 400,000 Aboriginal people or about 2% of Australia's total population. Australian Aborigines migrated somewhere in Asia at least 30,000 years ago. Though they comprise 500 to 600 distinct groups, Aboriginal people possess some unifying links. Among these are strong rituals, spiritual beliefs that tie them to the land, a tribal culture of storytelling and art, and other indigenous populations, a difficult colonial history. The dream time. The Aboriginal spirituality entails a close relationship between humans and land. Aborigines call the beginning of the world the dreaming or dream time. In the dream time, Aborigines ancestors rose from below the earth to form various parts of nature, including animal species, bodies, water, and the sky. Unlike other religions, however, Aboriginal belief does not place the human species apart or higher on a higher level than nature. Aborigines believe that some of the ancestors metamorphosized into nature, as in rock formations or rivers, where they remain spiritually alive. Storytelling, art, and the didgeridoo. The oral tradition of storytelling informs Aboriginals' vibrant cultural life. Songs illustrate in the dream time and other tales of the land, while dancers and diagrams drawn in the sand accompany oral tales. In the Northern Territory, Aboriginal artwork includes sculptures, bark, rock painting, basket, and head beadwork. Rock carvings and paintings can be found in such places as Arnhem Land, Ubir, and Nulangi. Many Aborigines earn a living through selling native artworks. Aboriginal music is often recognizable for its most famous instrument, the didgeridoo, a wind instrument typically made of bamboo. It extends about 5 feet and produces a low vibrating hum. Aborigines use didgeridoos in formal ceremonies such as events, sunsets, circumcisions, and funerals. So that was a huge passage that I read. Now let's look at the options and see which one is correct and which one is wrong. So the first one, so they have asked which of the statements can be supported. So which of these statements are true based on this information. So it is estimated that the population of Australia of Australian Aborigines peaked at about 400,000 some 300 years ago. Okay, so um, see again they're trying to confuse us. The PT is out to get you. They have like 400,000 year and 400,000 year, and they're saying that the population was 400,000, but here they're saying that it peaked about 30,000 years ago. So which is wrong. So you're saying that recent government statistics say that the population is 40,000. I know here they're saying this was 30,000 years ago. So you can see how like they are including certain portions, certain numbers, and trying to trick you. But if you're aware and if you understand what the option is saying and what is there in this passage, you will not get confused. So this is definitely incorrect, because this 400,000 is the current population, not the population 30,000 years ago. Then let's look at the second option. Despite being recognized internationally, the Aboriginal musical instrument, the didgeridoo, rarely plays a significant role in Aboriginal cultural ceremonies. So I remember that the didgeridoo was somewhere towards the end. Um, they were talking about ceremonies over here. So it's famous. So when Aborigines use didgeridoos in formal ceremonies such as events, sunsets, circumcisions, and funerals. So they say that they use this particular instrument during their events, but here they're saying they rarely play a significant role in cultural ceremonies. So this is incorrect, because over here it is saying that they are used, but over here it is saying that it is rarely used. So just this one word is changing the entire meaning of the option. If rarely wasn't part of this, it would have been correct. So it does play a significant role based on this last sentence. So this is incorrect as well. Okay, so two options and both were incorrect, and we looked at details on why they were incorrect. So let's look at the third option. Today Aborigines comprise approximately 2% of the Australian population. So that was in the first line. Recent government studies counted approximately 400,000 people, or about 2% of Australia's total population. So again, approximately about, it's the same thing. So this option is correct based on the first line in the text. So this is correct. Aboriginal culture is based on a belief that people, this is wrong, wrong, correct. Aboriginal culture is based on the Yeah. Aboriginal culture is based on the belief that people, animals, and the land are integrally linked. Okay, now I remember this being true, but let's look at the passage to confirm if it was true as well. Culture. Um, okay, so in this sentence, they're saying that the spirituality, Aboriginal spirituality, maintains a close relationship between humans and the land. So the people, animals, and so we can see that people and land is true. From various parts of nature, including animal species, bodies of water, and other. So based on what is there in this paragraph, you can see that the culture is based that the people, animals, land, and nature, and everything in nature is linked. So based on that, we can conclude that this is true because animals, the land is all part of nature. So this particular option is true. Let's move on to the next option. Unlike many other indigenous cultures, Australian Aborigines developed equitable relationship with colonial powers. Now, colonials was mentioned over here. So they say that they were unifying links with other groups, and difficult colonial history was one of the link that was common with other groups. So they had a difficult colonial history, means they had some problems with uh, the colonial people who came and colonized Australia for the first time, that is the British. And over here we can see that Australian equitable relationship with equitable means, just going by the name, you can see it would be something on that means equal relationships, but it doesn't seem to be that case. They were saying that they had difficult relationships. So this particular option is wrong as well. So based on our analysis, we can see that these two options, uh, option C and option D, is correct after going through. So again, just to note that you should look out for these trick questions out here, where they include particular facts from the answer, but the meaning of the option is different. Or here to like just one word rarely change the entire meaning of the option. So you need to be on the lookout for these kind of traps to ensure that you do not fall for those traps. So here is again another explanation, a formal explanation of what we went through in the previous slide. So that's it for this particular video. I hope this example helps you understand how to go about solving the question better, and I'll see you guys in the next video.